Welcome in. Welcome back. This is the Lower Rung podcast. John, what's going on? I haven't seen you since last week.
Yes, man. It's been a tundra here. I don't know if it's cooled down for you at all, but yeah, we're getting like into the teens as far as temps go here. But otherwise, I've been doing well.
Yeah, it snowed for like a couple hours over here. We had some frosty
Wow.
snow. It wasn't really snow, it was just a bunch of ice. Monday there was 200 wrecks near my house. So we're not
Oh,
used to.
the rear wheel drive, right?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. We don't salt the roads because we're not used to it. And it's just been a horrible mess, but it'll go away in a few days.
Yeah, weren't they like sanding the roads? They don't have salt over there.
Yeah, we don't really have salt. Yeah, they were just like throw whatever you can on the road. We're gonna die.
Yeah. Yeah, it can get pretty brutal over there pretty quickly, right? That storm, I think that was in like 2020 or 2021. Wasn't that like 8 inches in some areas? And that's a pretty decent storm. I mean, even for us northern window cleaners.
Yes. I lived in an apartment back then, and I woke up and it was like Alice in Wonderland. I like couldn't see. It was all just snow. It was very weird. I'd never seen snow in my life. Like I'd seen ice, but it was legit snow, and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it just snowed for the first time this year, maybe a week or so ago, and I woke up and thought I had left the back light on, and it was just snow, the light from the snow coming off the ground, and I'm actually surprised you don't sleep in those giant sunglasses that you wear. Did it break up there?
Oh, I lost you again. I didn't hear a word you said. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I was just saying I'm surprised you don't sleep in those sunglasses and wake up in them and you're all set already.
Sometimes I do. Um, I was worried a little bit with the whole freeze thing because with my truck issues, I haven't ran my system in a while, and it was coming up on like 3 weeks, and I was like, "Oh, I really hope that my ROs aren't damaged." So today I ran them, and it was fine. But I also keep it in the garage, which I don't think it'll freeze in the garage because there's no wind chill. But I was just like, I really don't want to spend $600 on brand new membranes at the start of the season here.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be brutal. Obviously, it is definitely a reminder that this time of the year can be pretty cold at night in pretty much all of the country, really. So, keep your system safe, throw on a thermal blanket or something like that, and hope for the best if you're, keeping it in a cool climate. You don't want those things to freeze.
Yeah, we get a lot of pictures on chat this time of year of cracked housings. One guy's rig like caught on fire because he was trying to heat them with a heating lamp and just like exploded. So I mean, you gotta be careful nowadays.
Yeah, it would be cool, I guess, in retrospect, to see a time lapse of one of those like expanding with the ice, but obviously not cool for anybody who's owning the equipment, of course.
Well, you know, I follow Craig's lives every now and again, and he freezes his on purpose and like does a bunch of weird stuff. I don't have that kind of money to start freezing my equipment on purpose, but they're pretty cool, interesting lives. I don't know if you've
They're
seen those.
testing the limits. They're doing like Bill Nye stuff over there. He's kind of like a Bill Nye Guy Fieri of window cleaning, sort of. It's like that
MacGyver.
kind of hybrid. Yeah,
It's always
yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah.
he's like, yeah, I got this brush from the '80s, and I put like a Ettore Pro Plus tip on it so I can use it for my wooden trad pole, and I'm just like, hey, if it works for you, that's cool.
Yeah, he's got gizmos and gadgets and pulleys and he's like if you remember those contraptions or like I don't know if they were like commercials in the 90s or something, but it was like you'd have all these gizmos that would react to each other, like a marble would roll down a thing and it would just end up like putting somebody's toaster on or something like that.
Yes.
His house
I
is
saw
probably just all of that stuff.
I saw one recently where the guy had like a hot dog wiener on a Hot Wheel, and it went down the stairs and then hit the grill. Yeah, dude.
I love all that stuff.
What was that movie with the house? It was like Smart House or something. Dating myself here. Future
I don't
House.
know. I guess it
It
was
was like
after 2010, so
yeah. If you didn't know, I don't watch movies before 2010. I have a strict cutoff. And John
I
B's
love
over
that.
here watching Sopranos from the 60s in black and white. Do you watch TCM? Do you know what TCM is?
My dad watches TCM, but I've watched some of those movies. Yeah, The Hustler is a classic. I love that movie.
Like silent movies, everything's black and white.
Yeah, yeah, Marx Brothers, all the good stuff.
Like
Silents are tough for me.
sometimes John B will he has this humor to him, and he'll have some one-liners, and half the time I have no idea what they are because they're from like way back when. I have to Google them.
Well, I would suggest running through The Simpsons because at least that'll give you some context. If you haven't seen The Simpsons in a while, it's always a good rewatch. They always go through the classic movies and TV shows and stuff. And aged pretty well, to be honest with you, if you can hear me or see me. I could vamp here, and I think I'm gonna do that, but let me see what we got here. I had a couple of topics. If Austin is gone, I can run through them here. I'm sorry you have to see my face solo here.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Hey,
So,
yeah, you're good.
funny story. I just got a text that said you've used 100% of your hotspot. So, no hotspot.
Oh wow, that was a strict, that was a quick, firm cutoff there. Damn. All
Yeah,
right.
I got a
What did
text
they
and I
give
looked
you?
down. I have like 3 GB for the month.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a lot.
Bandwidth, man. I don't even know. Yeah. All
I
right.
uh,
Well, you're working
I'm
now, so
I'm on my hotspot a lot because like I work from home, but if I have to go somewhere, I take my laptop and everything. Yeah,
yeah.
apparently I use it all for the month. So February should be going up. I was gonna say
February
before we got cut
going
off
up,
there,
man.
uh,
Yeah.
are you a believer that the Simpsons are time travelers of the future?
I'm happy to entertain any idea that brings The Simpsons to light. To be honest, because it's a great show. I mean, I've rewatched it a few times recently, some episodes, and it kind of reminds you of like how if you watched it when you were younger, which I did, and it kind of like shaped my like what I think is funny and learning comedy and stuff like that. It's such a good show.
I get through the TikTok rabbit hole a lot. The
Yeah.
Simpsons predicted Trump was going to be the president. The Simpsons predicted 9.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, really? But you can't believe everything on TikTok. And that could have been after case. I mean, I don't know. I don't go too deep. Kind of already have enough conspiracy to keep up with.
Well, there's no guy that has one conspiracy that he believes in. So, but also they were like releasing episode after episode after episode. So it was like they had an episode about anything really at a certain point, right?
Yeah, and
The odds of them
I
covering
just
like any
recently
kind of
got my wife.
conspiracy was high.
Yes, I mean you. go down all these rabbit holes, and it's like you said, they put so much out there. Like, you know, you had to hit one. One had to land.
Right. Right. What were you gonna say there?
I was gonna say I just recently got my wife on. We didn't go to the moon. That took 8 years, 8 long years. But now
Oh,
she's a believer. So
so she believes we didn't go.
yeah, yeah.
All right. All right.
Took a
Well,
long
there's
time.
also the question of what is the moon really, right? When you think about it.
Yeah, it's a cheese ball.
Yeah.
It's an alien spaceship floating, waiting
Yeah,
for us.
and I think we're getting further, or the moon is getting further from us, or we're getting further from the moon, but it's like less than centimeters every so many decades or something like that. So people are going to be screwed in thousands of years.
Not in my lifetime, so I don't care.
No, no.
It's kind of
We'll put
like
the moon there.
I always have those sayings like when I mess something up really bad, it's like you scratch somebody's window. You're like, well, that's not my window, so I don't care.
It's a clear window. How can you see it?
When they blew
Yeah,
my truck up, they were like, that's not my truck, so I don't care.
right. If you shut the hood, is there even an engine in there, you know?
And speaking of further, we're going further and further off topic here. I did want to say congratulations to Zane over the Window Guys. He is officially a sales rep over here at Window Cleaning Resource. Don't know his number. Me, and your number and Jersey's number are all really close together. His is like some weird number. But we'll have him
I
on
can
maybe next
find it
week.
right now here, dude. It's 862-220-4607.
Wow, that was quick. Are you a detective?
I have this thing called a laptop here at my disposal. My work tabs are still up. But Zane, that's a fun name. I wonder if we'll have to ask, is that a birth name? What's his middle name? Does it start with E? Because he'd be Zane E.
Is it a real
You know,
name?
is it real? If he has his own podcast, is it called In Zane in the Membrane? I've been thinking
That's
about a lot of this because you can use that for a lot of stuff.
insane in the membrane. That
Yeah,
is, he should change his Facebook name.
please. I mean, I don't keep these; they're just throwaways. You know, it's just for fun. So,
Yeah, we plan on having him around, get him up here. He's apparently more popular than us, I hear. So maybe you guys will
that's
tune in.
awesome.
Insane.
I mean, I've seen some of his videos, and to have somebody who's knowledgeable and can even like maybe give us some pointers even on the social media side. I mean, you're talking about TikTok and everything. I just learned about Stanley Cups and everything that those are cool now. So, I'm watching movies from the 40s or whatever. So,
Yes. Yeah, dude, he like makes videos with his watch. He has like a button to press and play and stop and does all of his own editing. I went up to Oklahoma to visit him and Mike a few months ago. I didn't get to clean with him, but the dude cleans a lot of glass. I was cleaning
hmm,
residential and high rise, or not high rise, mid rise with Mike, and he was knocking out storefronts. We went to a coffee shop in the morning, and it was this little bitty town. And we had some coffee. Me and Mike were leaving. I was like, "What do you got planned for today?" And he's like, "All of this." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean? Like, this store?" He's like, "No, the whole city. Like, I have the whole city." Like, we're just
wow,
standing around this whole city of glass. He's like, "Well, I'm gonna get started." Like,
damn, damn,
dude, you got a lot of
yeah.
glass.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Where is he? Is he in Indiana or
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma? Okay, yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Wow.
very small city, but they travel out to the big ones. I mean,
Yeah.
the way the window guys structure is, I mean, they don't advertise, they don't have CRMs, everything's pencil and paper, and they have literally like the whole tri-state area of glass, residential, mid-rise, storefronts. I mean, they clean a lot of glass. I have a lot of respect for them.
That's fun to be old school like that, but then for him to also be bringing in some, excuse me, of the like new school of like, doing social media and stuff. So I don't know, man. More people should be like that because, best of both worlds, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be good for him becoming a rep because he only does storefronts. He takes care of like the storefronts of the company. So that'll be easy to like take phone calls and stuff
Sure.
like that. I mean, he's literally just nose to glass all day long. I mean, he does some water fed work with Mike, but majority of the time, I kind of wish I had his life. Just wake up and do storefronts every day. Like, so
Yeah,
easy.
right. You're not dealing with, Joe or Larry coming outside. And yeah, I mean, you could pop a pod on or, maybe he's listening to this. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to him about that. Like, I tried like one time to take a phone call while I was doing residential, and it was like a 2 hour phone call. And I was like, never
Oh my
again,
God.
never again.
No,
Will I?
no.
Will I do the whole Sally over there is wondering why I'm sitting in my truck and not cleaning her windows.
Yeah, you got somebody from Florida talking about their, children and a vacation they went on 3 years ago, trying to divert the conversation back to window cleaning.
Or the guy that makes his own soap. That was probably the
Oh,
longest phone call I've ever had.
makes his own soap or is restructuring a purification system into something else that it shouldn't be.
I am a carpet cleaner and I clean with pure water, if you didn't know. Speaking,
Yeah.
before I forget, uh, business idea. I don't know if you guys have these where you're at, but we have these little stations. They're like not a kiosk, but they're in parking lots and they're called Pure Water. And it's just like a water fill up station, but they use pure water. I'm assuming they
Hmm.
use reverse osmosis and not resin. I don't think you can drink water that's been through resin, but
Right.
I've always wondered, like, can I just set up like a makeshift box and put a zero pure in it and start making money? Like,
Oh,
I just
imagine that.
want to get into it. I haven't really read up on it. I don't know the details, but do you guys have that in your area? Just like small water fill up areas?
I think I've seen that. Is it like primarily for water bottles?
Yeah, and like those big jugs, the big 5 gallon
Yeah.
jugs. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen those. Those are newer, I think, coming around here. I think I first saw those, or at least something like it, in airports and stuff.
Yeah. I know a guy, I won't say his name because I don't think I didn't ask permission, but you know this guy. And he started selling pure water to grocery stores. I think he was saying $20 a gallon, pure
Oh
water.
my God.
Yeah. And I was like, uh, can I like get some details on this? I'm kind of wanting to get in on that bandwagon here. I got zero pure in my garage. He's like,
Yeah,
oh
just
yeah,
pump
dude,
through water.
these grocery stores just eat it up and it's pure water and I just fill them in jugs and I bring them up there. And I was like, I'm gonna have to give you another phone call after this. I'll tell you who
I
it is
like
later.
the idea of like not getting the job to clean the windows of the grocery store, but providing them with pure water in gallon form.
But it didn't make any sense to me because why would they pay that? I mean, water bottles, you can get a gallon of water at the store for like $1 or $2.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't, maybe it's like distilled, maybe distilled water is more expensive. I don't,
Distilled water, I think, is more expensive, but still pretty attainable. I mean, it's still like, I don't know. Not really sure. But yeah, that I guess people use it for those sleep masks, like with the what is it? When people have
uh, CPOD or no, not CPOD.
stuff like that. Yeah, those like sinus sleeping issues.
I always get nervous when I go into houses and they have those machines next to the bed. I'm like, are you an alien? Are you
Yeah, you
real?
feel like it's like a breathing apparatus, which I guess it really is, but you're just you can't imagine those things when they're on. I don't know
Sleep?
how anybody sleeps.
Yeah, because I wake up and my covers are like on bed, my pillows next to the TV stand, and I don't know how or what happened last night.
Because it's got to be brutal. Nobody's like growing up with one of those machines. You know what I mean? It's like you get that because you have to, and it's always when you're an adult. So it's something that like it would be like either of us having to get used to that, which it would be brutal.
Yeah, nah, I'm gonna pass on
I
that.
wouldn't be a fan. I mean, you know, you do it because you don't want to. die pretty much. But
And
yeah, brutal.
I did want to bring up to our one listener that we have, and I think that one person is me because I have it on my iPad going. um, the IWCA convention's coming up at the end of the month, the last week of January. It's in Galveston, Texas, which is awesome for me. I drive to Galveston like every other weekend. My father-in-law has a beach house out there. Um, it's going to be at this like giant pyramid structure thing. I think it's going to be super cool. I haven't been to an IWCA convention before, so it's kind of a first time for me. Uh, I don't think you've been to any huge conventions, have you, John?
No, no, I've been convention-less. I've been usually on the other end of it, of being either at in certain years at the warehouse and receiving in orders from guys who were out there and made sales, which was pretty awesome, because we would know which ones came in through the convention. And last year I was on chat and just covering phones and stuff. But that might have been for the huge
Was that pretty tough?
convention? No,
Having four guys off and you're just tackling phones.
no, it was pretty awesome actually. I mean, I was on vacation pretty much. I was down in North Carolina, and I was like, you know what? I'm in a nice area. I'm just gonna sit out by the pool with my laptop, take calls all day, run on chat. Chat was a little draining, being on chat like consistently.
All
That
day,
part was a
every
little
day.
draining. But just being up until like 11 p.m. every night on the chat, and because I wanted to like take advantage of every minute possibly as I could really. Um, so once I was off chat after that week, I was like, man, because taking calls isn't bad. But otherwise,
Is
otherwise
that
it was.
something you're?
Sorry, what?
Sorry, we were breaking up. We When we break up, we tend
Yeah.
to mix a little bit. Um, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, is that something you're interested in doing in the future? Going over to the huge and kind of working the booth?
That'd be cool. I mean, I've never met a lot of the guys. I mean, I don't think I've met John Lee in person. I've not met you in person.
Mm-mm.
Grace, uh, Grace and Craig I've met. Steve-O, Jersey I've met, obviously.
They're up there a lot. They're
So
over at
yeah,
the
no,
warehouse all the time.
yeah, they've been through a few times. Filming stuff and making stuff happen over there. But yeah, it would be cool to meet all the reps really, and then just to meet actual window cleaners in person, which I have some experience with people coming in and picking up orders and stuff like that. But yeah, it would be cool to actually see some of the booths and see all the other people, all the, you know, companies that we've purchased products from and all of that. I mean, it's got to be pretty exciting. I mean, you can't even believe that there's a convention for something like window cleaning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I do want to go into that, but since you mentioned this, I want your opinion. So I've never been to the warehouse. When someone picks up an order, it like we're not open to the public. So if you want to pick up an order, you have to place it, and then I think we just leave it out for you. Is it kind of like, stay away, don't come in, like just
Um,
leave it out, or how does that go?
yeah, so we'll let people know that it is primarily a warehouse, right? And a lot of times, since people don't know their ETA when they'll get to the warehouse, we'll just let them know that we're leaving it outside. Most of the people are on kind of like a thing where they order and know the spiel, they know the deal, and that they'll, yeah, yeah, I'll be over, whether it's after 5, you can just leave it out there. We're kind of lucky to be in a discreet location there where, we haven't experienced any theft or anything like that. So we will do that. A lot of times, obviously, this time of the year, we'll leave stuff inside at the door. People can come in, and we're happy if somebody has a spare moment to kind of like show somebody some of the machines potentially. Just here's the line of, because they have all the systems displayed out sort of in the front. But really, if you look in there, you can kind of see what's going on in that there's always stuff going on, and the office part is just sort of in the midst of like all the producing and everything going on there. And especially if somebody comes later on in the day, you see shipping is just like going like crazy, you know. I mean, they're going all day, but toward the end of the day, we're really just trying to crank out orders. So it is sort of like a thing where unfortunately people can't come in and just like, have at, I want to see this thing and I want to see that thing. I mean, if somebody wants to make a change to an order, I would have, always made it easy on them and just kind of like make the adjustment there and then. But, usually it's people who know what they want and it's in the box. Here you are. You need any help bringing it into the truck? No, we're good. All right, cool.
Well, the only reason I say that is there was uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Photography shoot not too long ago with the guy with the muscle shirt. I don't know
Oh,
his
yeah.
name. I can't remember
Greg.
his name. Craig?
Greg.
Greg. Were you
Yeah.
there when everybody was doing that? Or
No, no, I wasn't. I wasn't
but
there.
I want to say he's just like a local window cleaner, but they like took him out to a job, I guess, and he was doing like videos on the Pure Water Power brand. And I didn't know if he just like walked in and he was like, "Yeah, let's just go shoot some videos."
Greg works in like shipping, picking, and I
Okay.
mean, really, dude, like everybody in that building has like so many things that they do that it's tough to even like call somebody in one department. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? He's not like the shipping guy or anything like that. Everybody just kind of like picks up where, they can and helps out,
Um,
But Greg, I think it was kind of funny how he became kind of like the model. I think it was when we were moving in, it was so hot because we didn't have any like air circulation in the warehouse and everything, and we were loading like all the pallet rack material and everything. And Greg is just hustling because he's like he's big into like fitness and lifting and everything like that. He is just hustling boxes of 4 gallons at a time up a ladder, and we were just like I ended up getting like pretty much just like overly tired and ended up dropping one of the boxes of like 4 gallons of like I don't know, Titan something maybe, and
nice.
Greg was just rolling. So I think that's sort of where it came from. He was wearing the like WCR tank tops, and we were just like, joking around and everything. Greg, you should model this stuff. And then I think it just kind of came into actually happening. But he's a
Oh,
good sport.
I thought he owned a company because he had like this cool like window cleaning cutoff. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Hmm. Maybe it wasn't Greg. Maybe it was another guy.
No, I mean that probably sounds right. I
Unless he started a company, I don't know. We've had guys who start window cleaning companies through just working, in the warehouse aspect.
yeah. The coolest thing I ever saw was you probably know this guy. I don't know his name, but he left WCR to start a window cleaning company, and he bought a van. And I
Yep.
think Alex and Chris by themselves built his van.
Yeah, that's Jordan.
Yeah, that dude.
Jordan started like very, very soon after or before I started, I think.
I think they were at the Warwick location and they like built shelves and racks and mounted his system. I thought that was the coolest thing ever for like Alex
Yeah,
and Chris to be the owners and top dogs. And they were like, "Hey, we're going to build your van." Like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
cool.
yeah. That he's a good dude, Jordan. I think he pops in every so often in the warehouse. Good
And
dude though.
like, so I always get asked this question. So I have to ask someone who's been there. People are always like, "Where's Florida and New York?" So from Warwick is close to New Jersey, right?
Yeah,
And
and then it's
Florida
about
is
35 minutes north is Florida, New York, which is close to not really a city, but a larger town called Middletown, and there's some more well-known towns up that direction, but these are just smaller towns.
So how far is Florida from like Manhattan?
I want to say about maybe 45 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic, really. Like hour 15 if you're depending on your route.
Yeah, because people always ask me, they're like, "Oh yeah, you've been to Syracuse," and I'm like, "I don't live there. I've never been to Syracuse. I don't know where that is." And I'm just like, "It's
Dude,
Florida, New York. I know it's confusing, but we're in Florida, New York."
it's tough to say with a state like New York because it's so huge. I mean, I've never been to Syracuse or like Rochester or anything like that. They're like 6 hours away, you know?
I want to go. Not only to see
Yeah.
the warehouse, I think that would be super dope, but I want to see like the 9/11 mem not memorabilia,
Oh yeah,
memorial near.
yeah, the like reflective pools or whatever.
Yeah.
I've never actually seen those either, and I've been through New York so many times since 9/11. But it really only because that area there's no like food, it's just business pretty much. So you'd you'd be going down either for like something on one of the piers or like just to see that pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard bad things about New York. Obviously, I'm from Texas, so the North, they're all horrible and they hate everybody and they're rude and they're miserable people. I heard, like, I told my, I think it was my aunt. I was like, I'm thinking about going to New York to see the warehouse, and she was like, I hope you're bringing like a gun and a knife and like keep your wallet in your front pocket. I was like, is it that bad?
Well, you go into any city and you kind of have to assess depending on how many people you're around, especially if you like depending on how you get into New York City, because if you get into like Penn Station, it's packed and hustle and bustle there. You never really know what can happen. I was in Times Square a couple of years ago. I think it was 2020 or something like that. Then we found out like the day later or a day after there was a shooting right in Times Square, and I was like, damn. It was like right there, but it's so large. There's so many people. It doesn't happen all the time, but you do have to have your head kind of on a swivel a little bit and just be a little bit street smart, which it kind of takes a little bit to click in. I remember, so I used to live in Philly. When I would go back and visit my parents for like 4 days or something, even something small like that, I would come back and just have to, remember like, people are poor. There's homeless people around that are gonna like try and fuck with you. So, just play it pretty much tunnel vision sometimes down the streets. New York City, you'll see some crazy stuff.
I always think of like Madagascar when I think of New York. I think of just, fun zoos and, happy people. I uh I got technically robbed once downtown Houston. I don't go to downtown. It's miserable. It's just like any downtown. Any downtown is just filled with homeless people and crime. But the one time I actually got like robbed, I parked at this place. There was there's nowhere to park. Obviously, it's downtown. So I go to park. I was going to like a basketball game, like the Rockets game, and the guy was like, "Hey, it's $20." So I gave him $20, and I'm walking, and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't get like a ticket for my window." So I turn around to get a ticket, and the dude's gone. So I was like, "Okay, he doesn't work here. Like this dude just robbed me." And then
Oh my
the
God.
second time I got robbed was I didn't really get robbed, but I had parked like a mile away from Minute Maid, the baseball stadium. My dad
Yeah.
worked at a little place down there, and I was like, "Oh, free parking." So I'm walking down there, and the whole time everyone's like, "Hey, kid, nice shoes, nice watch," and I'm just
Oh,
like,
the shoes. Yep.
all right." But I didn't think like it's not a bad walk during the day, but at
Yeah.
10, the game's over at night. Like, yeah, this is great. Like,
Yeah.
I'm 150 pounds soaking wet, and I just look like a guy that needs to be robbed.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's a completely different story at night in any city, and really after 2020, I mean, and COVID and all the like, whatever happened to major cities, really, like in certain parts of them, it's really not good. Like no matter what city it is, it just seems like it's all gone downhill in a lot of areas. So yeah, you have to be careful depending. You have to know kind of what what the area is like, where you're going, and especially nowadays, just so like you're safe. I had my car broken into and all my bags and shit stolen out of it on the weekend of my 30th birthday. So, I
Lovely.
was like, I'm not going to Philly for a while.
Well, Philly, this is the last part of the topic I'll get on so we can get back to window cleaning talk. But Philly,
Yeah.
that's that street I can't think of where like the cops don't care if you do heroin on the street. Like they just live there and like do heroin.
Kensington area. Yeah, it's there's people, I don't know what drug they're on, but they're like standing up, but they're like all the
Sleep.
way leaned forward. I think they're on like horse tranquilizers or something like that.
Yeah,
And they're just
it's
groups of them.
weird zombie apocalypse. But
It's scary over there.
back to the huge, I would recommend going. It's kind of been the same group for the past couple of years. But if you ever do get a chance to go, not only is it a fun experience, it's been in Nashville the past couple of years, the biggest hotel in America at the Gaylord. So
Hmm.
they have everything you need. You never have to leave. They have restaurants. They have dance halls, bars and grills, concerts. I mean, everything is, I think it's like 1 million square feet under a roof.
Wow.
It's absolutely
Dang.
insane. And then, the convention center, you have every vendor you can think of: window cleaning, soft washing, gutter guards, gutter cleaning. I mean, literally everything,
Sure.
Christmas lights. And, you get to meet not only the customers that you know, but customers that you talk to frequently that you maybe not know. And
Sure.
you get to kind of see just different people. Some people are grossing, 100 grand a year, and some people are grossing 10 million a year. So you can kind of just get different feedback on how everything is run in the business. It's a really good time.
And then I guess you wonder which one of those guys has the gig for the hotel, whoever's cleaning the hotel, right?
Yeah. Well, I've
That could open
learned
up.
this. I've learned from all the conventions. I started going to the huge in 2018, I believe. I think it was 2018. And the guys who don't say anything at all, those are the big money guys. The guys that talk
Sure.
the whole time, they're bluffing. They're lying. They're lying.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, even not if not just for me, then any customers that have interest in that, whoever's listening, because anyone can go as long as they have a ticket, right?
Yeah, and they're dirt cheap right now. And I don't work for the huge, but I think it's like $99 right now, just for the ticket. Obviously, you need airfare and hotel and everything. But like closer to the event in August, they rack up to like $300. So big steep difference.
And for people who don't know, the origin of the convention is it started out as the pretty big convention, and then it got so big that they moved it up to the huge.
Yeah, and I felt embarrassed the first time I ever met Thad. So Chris and Thad and I think a couple other people started the huge like a long time ago. I think it's been 13 years. At this like little place in Louisiana. It was just like a get together, and now it's the huge, and they've sold it since then. Some other owners own it. But I was at a convention, I think it was Atlanta, and I was talking to Chris in Jersey, and he's like, "Hey, have you met Thad?" And I'm like, "No, like how's it going? Who are you?" And he's like, "Oh, I invented this." I'm like, "Oh, hey, nice to meet you, sir. You're
That is
royalty.
good.
I'm
That's
nobody."
funny, man. Um, I guess I should address the background, which I don't think I did, but
Yes.
really, if it's not clear, it's because of basically we've reached the big freeze here in the Northeast area, I guess. Nobody calls it the big freeze necessarily, but I'm going with that. Just because it's been, I don't know, it's so weird throughout the past couple of months where like it just seems like we should have had winter start way earlier, but it really just kicked off pretty much January. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's cold as hell here. If you had a system in Pennsylvania, I would say that you wouldn't want to run it right now because it's going to be, I think, a low of 15 here, and right now I think it's no, right now it's 20 degrees, so
You
very
know,
cold.
it's funny you say that because it's been like in the 20s, lower teens or mid teens. And today it was 45, and I walked outside and I was like, it feels great. It's so
Yeah, yeah.
hot. And normally
Yeah.
45, I would never walk outside.
Well, you should see me when I go outside with the dog. I'm like, oh, it's only 15 degrees, but there's no wind, so I can go out there and just a jacket and I'm good. Your body does kind of get used to it, but once the wind kicks in, dude, that's it. Game over for me.
Yeah, and I have family in Indiana, and I
Hmm.
used to go up there a lot. Never in the winter. I went one winter, and I was like, "This is miserable. I'll never come back." They came down here a few years ago in February, which is pretty cold here in February. For some reason, it should be cold in December. I don't know why it's cold in February.
Right.
But they get into the negatives up there, and it was only like 40 or 50 here, and they were freezing to death because the humidity goes to your bones, dude. Like you can feel it in your
Oh,
body. And they were like, "This is so cold." I'm like, "Dude, you guys just came from negative weather. It's not cold." They're like, "No, this is different, bro. This is different."
yeah, you just reminded me, as a kid down in Florida, we went and I guess it must have got colder at night, and I just remember being like freezing, and it was pretty weird because, we're so used to cold temperatures, but didn't even factor in the humidity.
Yeah,
That's
it's something
that's
about it.
interesting.
Like, I'm kind of glad I don't do as much field work anymore because I have videos on my YouTube that of me doing a roof wash, and I get to the shop and like everything's frozen. I think it was last year or the year before I left our flatbed like full of 300 gallons of water. So I froze the tank, I froze the
Mm.
pressure washers, everything was frozen. So that morning was just like miserable. And I'm like, I'm so glad I don't have to do that anymore. I just
Yeah,
have heater
yeah.
on inside.
Those are those days where when you're taking off all the clothes that you have, you just see the shit day that it was. It's just visible.
Yes.
It's just those tough days. Um, but I guess we haven't even mentioned the site sale is still going.
Yeah,
So we've
15%
got
off.
15% off, man. There's a bunch of giveaways like consistently that we're rolling out. I mean, it's pretty sweet how we're keeping stuff, going through January here. Kind of keeping it interesting for customers to still be able to, you know, try and get some movement going. If you're in California, Florida, I guess some parts of Texas sometimes, right? Right now, where
Yeah,
you can
South
still window clean.
Texas, like North Texas is brutal right now. They were having blizzards up there in North Texas, but South
Hmm.
Texas, Houston, Corpus, we're still good. Like you said, not only do we have 15% off, but we do have the survey that you can fill out to win a free Zero Micro. So if you're not in water-fed, I was telling a buddy of mine who just started window cleaning 3 months ago. I was like, I know it's a long shot. You may not win, but if you do win, you've already got the pole. So now you're $900 scot free, and you can just buy the system and some hose. I mean, if you're tight on cash, it's a free survey. Just fill it
Yeah.
out. It takes a couple of minutes. So that's really cool. I love free giveaways like that.
And also with that pole is a trad pole until you don't need it to be anymore. You know what I mean? So, you can use that with all of your tools. So that can be great. I mean, it's carbon fiber. I think you'd notice that it holds up well and is probably a tier above some of the tools that you might already own, if you have an extension pole.
Yeah, and I will say this. I'm glad you brought that up. I talked to two people today about the prices of carbon fiber poles. So, you know, these tools are made for window cleaners that have customers and are going to make money. So, yes, an 8 foot carbon fiber pole is $169. So after tax, let's say $200. But you got to realize you have a 12-year warranty on that pole. So a section breaks, a clamp breaks, you are covered. You can buy a cheaper aluminum Unger OptiLock pole for $70, but you're really only saving like $100 and you don't get that 12-year warranty. So I would strongly suggest, and I'm a salesman, I know, but I would strongly suggest a 12-year warranty, dude. I don't know if you realize how long that is. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Clamps,
absolutely
any issues? I mean, I would say that, like, give the aluminum pole a shot and see how that feels. I mean, it just, if you're using a pole for hours at a time, I mean, you'll definitely experience some, I don't know if it's like just cramping or pain or just I think it takes its toll after a while with the aluminum and the rigidity that feel. I just think is sort of like it doesn't glide. I don't think it feels as like natural in a way as carbon fiber does with traditional tools.
Yeah, the aluminum is like it just feels cheap because it is cheap. And I never liked the twist collars. So,
Mm,
especially in cold weather, those break pretty easily. And if your collar breaks, you got to buy a new collar and install it yourself so you don't have that warranty. And like you said, the rigidity, if you're using like a 12, 18, 20 footer, the rigidity's not there. The collars can break pretty easily and they're a lot colder or warmer in the seasons than carbon fiber. I mean, yes, you may be saving $100, but how much money do you make in a day? I'm just saying, carbon fiber is the way to go.
yeah, yeah. I mean, with it lasting as long as it does, as far as the quality of the material, and then backed by a 12-year warranty, that's clamps and any of those issues that you might have. We haven't really seen any carbon fiber really like snap or anything like that naturally when you're using it. I mean, you can't imagine how hard you would have to scrub or something like that to actually damage it. But that's why the warranty is there, whether or not we could be surprised by anything that we see really. So you can just easily submit a warranty form or just hit one of us up. It's not that difficult to just enter in some info for you. We know how it is out there. So going with the carbon fiber, lighter, more rigid. I mean, it's going to be a little bit more money up front, like you said, but it's well worth it in the end. And you're just setting yourself up to not have to think about potentially buying another piece of equipment and that this is just something to get you through to a certain point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the only pole I've ever seen really snap easily is the ultralight, like the Zero Pro ultralight. And the only reason that is they'll put like a really heavy brush on it, like an 18-inch or a 20-inch. And
Mm,
when you raise the pole up, there's markers of where you should stop. Either it's gold or red or blue. If you go past that and you have a heavy brush on the end, that's where it's going to snap every single time.
mm.
But if you don't go past those markers, then you're okay. And even worst case, you're covered for 12 years. So it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and 12 years, if you think about 12 years ago, I mean, that's a
Yeah,
long time.
that's a really long time. And how much
Yeah.
money did that pole make you in 12 years? So there's also that.
We would hope a lot. And if you're going to buy one of those poles, you would want to be working and using it frequently. And I hope the people who do use them a lot because you get your money back quick if you're getting jobs and using it frequently. So well worth it.
Yeah.
Well worth it. But I don't know. Did you want to cover some other topics or how were you feeling about this?
I mean, we're close to an hour here, so I think
Yeah.
we're good for today. I think we're going to try and get Zane on the next one next week. Today's Wednesday, so probably be next Wednesday. We'll go
You
ahead
want
and
him
share
on
it.
that watch camera.
Oh yes, again with the smart house. We'll have him on so you can ask him all your questions and get him kind of in the mix. But other than that, thanks for tuning in. Hope you're watching this either. If not now, tomorrow, just catching up, listening to the podcast while you're working, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.